Challenges that I have overcome that have made me stronger. The first one, feeling insecure about being on camera because of my lazy eye. This is a challenge that I am forever grateful that I was given the strength to persevere through. I remember getting in front of the camera for me was an absolute nightmare. I was so scared, but I always had a desire to be in front of the camera. When I first started my content creation journey, all of my videos were far away from the camera, or I would use my mother's blurry, grainy iPad, or I would have the lighting really dim or low so no one would notice my face. And then I persevered with time, and to the point where I just show my face. Everybody know what my face look like. Shoot, you see me in different phases. Some minute I look a mess. Some days I look this. Some days I look that. But I have a message and I have a voice, and that's what's more important. And it overpowered the insecurities that I had. And I think today of how many people I've helped because I chose to persevere through those insecurities. And that's something that I will forever be grateful for. The next challenge that I've overcome that changed my life, that I'm so proud, is depression. I remember when I was 16 years old, I just came across this journal entry because I'm writing a memoir. And 16 years old, and I wrote about how depressed I was and how I didn't want to live anymore at 16. And at 16 years old, that little girl was stressed about every area in her life. Nothing felt good enough. My relationships, my friendships, my job, my home, I just felt trapped. And I was in complete despair. I did not see a way out. And even in that diary entry that I stumbled across a couple of days ago, that was from 2016, that little girl still had hope. She knew that it was for something. She knew that it was for her benefit. She knew that it was going to, her life was going to turn around. Even as I read the words from when I was 16, I was so depressed. I mean, my heart stung for that little girl, man. And, but she knew. And as I look at my life now, I'm in Houston, Texas. I live on my own. I have my own peace. I've created a brand where I've helped people, and I feel completely different from that time. It didn't mean I didn't have struggle, but I definitely have made an impact. And I just am so grateful that I overcame depression. And I'm going to tell you guys how, which is the next thing. Next challenge I've overcame, numbing emotions. So depression, what I believe is suppression. It's suppression of emotions, suppression of your gifts, suppression of your abilities, and it's like something that just festers inside you. It can be that, like a domino effect, or it can be an occurrence that happens. You lost your mother, you lost your father, like something just traumatic happening, and then it just takes you out. For me, it was a domino effect. So I was numbing my emotions. I used to run away from all my problems. I didn't face anything. And I learned how to numb without even using drugs. Like, I just learned how to numb myself through productivity, through food, through like just being engulfed in other people's problems. And then it didn't take till I started writing my memoir, till I started creating my content, so I started facing myself, till I started writing about the hard stuff, facing my dark truths, to where I actually changed. And that was actually the birth of Hoppin' with Hago, which is my brand, where I've helped people, had the opportunity to help people out of the dark spaces in their lives, because I took the time to face my own mess and not numb from things anymore. And it was hard. I would never forget, like, when you numb your emotions, I cannot explain this enough. When you numb your emotions, all they're going to do is stay inside you. If you guys read the book, The Body Keeps Score, that is really true. So just think about that. Anything you try to suppress, sometimes denial is good because it allows us to, process our emotions in small increments. But too much denial is nothing but festered emotions that are going to come out to attack unexpectedly. So that's what I learned in my life. And when I had the opportunity to face my emotions, and it started with me facing my father's death. I used to run from it all the time. I didn't want to go to the cemetery. I didn't want to realize that I was a girl without a father. And there I was. I went to that cemetery, and I faced the first traumatic thing that had ever happened to me. And from then, all the other emotions came up to the surface, and it was so hard, but I persevered through it, and that's what actually got me to become a better woman, a different woman, a completely different person, because I was no longer running from the hard stuff. And let me say too, I'm sorry guys, running from the hard stuff, it takes time. Like, you're going to realize, you're going to think you're done, and there's going to be some more stuff that you're going to have to address. So I've learned to be more comfortable with my darkness, with my dark truths, and acknowledge it and be real about it, okay? The next challenge that I've overcome, writing a memoir. Am I finished yet? Oh, when I finish this first draft, I don't think anything will ever compare. It's not about writing about my life. It's about sitting there facing my most traumatic experiences on a piece of paper. That right there is different. I say you don't know yourself until you write about your life experiences, whether that be through music, whether that be a book, whether that be journaling. Like, you do not know yourself until you do that. Because there is something spiritual and subconscious about sitting there, reflecting on the experience in your life, sitting in it, going back to that place. I had to go back to uncomfortable things. And when I went back to those uncomfortable things, I realized I didn't even deal with it. I didn't even deal with it until I wrote the memoir. And I sit and I think, wow, oh my God, it was hard. Stomach pain, stomach twisting, stomach turning, me running from the laptop because I don't want to face those things, but I persevered. And I was able to see through my writing how spiritually guided I am and how connected I am, how I'm able to trust that I will find the right words. I will find the strength to keep going and write on that document, because I know it's for a bigger purpose. It's not for me, it's to help other people out there, for a girl that was like me, you know? So writing a memoir, dealing with uncomfortable emotions. The next challenge I've overcome that I'm proud of is graduating college. Graduating college is no joke. Yo, graduating college is no joke, man. Like, if you can do that, you could absolutely do anything. The next challenge I've overcome is being bullied. Being bullied, I think, is one of the hardest things I've ever been through. To constantly have your self-esteem put down, and to constantly feel bad about yourself. That's why I feel so bad for celebrities, because they have to deal with being in the limelight 24/7, being judged, being ridiculed 24/7. Even as a teacher, being a substitute teacher, being a teacher, you deal with that as well, and it's not easy at all. And bullying, as I sit back, and I was bullied for my skin color, I was bullied for my eye, I was bullied for my thumb, I was bullied for it just felt wrong for me to be myself. But I gained so much compassion for myself and for other people from being bullied. And I've learned so much from the experience. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see a way through. And I still, to this day, got to deal with hate. You know, but I kind of see why I dealt with those things. And still to this day, I would not sign up to be bullied. I would not condone it. I would not say, oh yeah, let's go be bullied today. Like, absolutely not. Any chance I would have to avoid it, I would absolutely take it. But I'm grateful for it, because you kind of develop this compassion and this love for humans, and learn how to not be so cruel because you've been done wrong. And I think that's one of the things that makes me proud to have gone through that, so I can watch how I treat other people. Does it mean you're going to be perfect all the time? No. But it just makes you have a different, your heart opens up when you go through something like that. You don't want anybody to ever experience what you experienced. Another challenge I'm happy I have overcome is my natural hair. Now, this is a wig, y'all, but I remember I used to hide my natural hair so much. I was very ashamed of it. I wore weave, I wore bundles. I always, as soon as I took a weave out, I was putting another weave right back in, not giving my hair a chance to breathe. And then, so one moment I sat with myself and I said, how am I more confident in someone else's hair and not my own? And that bothered me. And I took the time, I did a big chop, cut my hair. It was the hardest thing I've ever did. You're going from wearing these long, vivacious bundles to having a short, closely cropped haircut. And I had to deal with the ridicule. I had to deal with the hate. I had to deal with people saying bad things about my hair. You know, when you gonna get your hair done? What's wrong with your? Oh my God, you need to straighten your hair. Wear your hair the other way. I had to deal with all those comments, all that mean stuff, all that stuff that people tell me how they want me to wear my hair, how I should wear my hair. And I persevered through all that. And still to this day, I will always choose to rock my natural hair. This is a wig, by the way, y'all. I'm going to do a video on this soon. But I prefer to wear my natural hair because of how it birthed a natural me. My natural hair experience birthed a natural me. Going from wearing these long Brazilian bundles that made me feel like a Brazilian princess and kept me a little separated from my culture, to learning how to embrace my hair, take care of my hair, accept my hair, love my hair, help me to love myself, embrace myself, and care for myself. So absolutely, my natural hair journey is something that I am so happy I have overcome. The next thing I'm happy that I overcame is my brand, hoppinwithhago. Although it's not where I want it yet, just the process of me pouring my heart and soul into something that matters a lot to me, which is creating a safe space for people who don't feel heard, seen, beautiful, validated, because that was how I felt. If there's anything I don't know better, I don't know anything better than pain. And I want to create a safe space for people who don't feel like they have anybody to turn to, who feel like, who've grown up in toxic households, who've had a terrible relationship with themselves, who've had a terrible relationship with everybody around them, because that is literally what I am recovering from. And every day I take action to speak for those people and to be an example of how you can be better and persevere through those things. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. It's not easy getting up making content every day. It's not easy sitting up there facing myself and developing personally and having to face these uncomfortable truths and share them with the world. But I don't do it for me. It surpassed me a long time ago. This is about something that I really feel like I'm called to do. Okay? The next thing that I've overcome is suppressing my desire for love. I used to lie and say I was asexual. I used to say I don't like boys, I don't like girls. And the reason I did that was because I didn't feel like I was worthy of love. I didn't feel like I fit society's standard of beauty, because I have a lazy eye and I wasn't, I had Afro kinky textured hair, dark skin, a disformed thumb, and I didn't feel like I would ever be loved for me. So I went from lying about, saying I'm not attracted to boys or girls, to telling the truth, I'm attracted to men. So, to telling the truth. And that really means a lot that I've done that, because it's just, the closer you get to your truth, the closer you get to success. When you lie, that's what puts you on the back end, and I don't want to lie to myself. The next and last challenge I'm going to say that I'm glad I've overcome, moving to a new state. Oh my God, how can I forget about this? I moved from New Jersey to Houston in July of 2025. And I remember, when I was getting a feeling to move to Houston, never been there a day before in my life, never been here a day before in my life. I was true up north girl from New Jersey, and being called to move to the South, I'm like, what in the world? But I did it, and I remember worrying about every step of the way. Worrying about, oh my God, I gotta make sure I have my first deposit. I gotta make sure I got money to get all the tools I need. I gotta make sure, oh my God, how am I gonna carry all my stuff up to the apartment? How am I gonna have the money for the flight? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? Everything worked itself out. How am I gonna work? How am I supposed to everything worked itself out. These are challenges that I am so proud I have overcome. I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. Thank you so much. This is your girl Hago signing out.